Cue ominous thunder with these clouds in the background, Alex, because today we are riding genuinely the most terrifying motorcycle, maybe the most terrifying vehicle that either of us have been in the entire course of us doing this job.
Yeah, I don't think there's even a question there. It's hands down the most terrifying vehicle I've ever been on. And yeah, we're gonna review it together because there's a spot for two people, which happens on a lot of motorcycles, but this time we're side by side instead of front to back.
Alex and I are about to go the furthest out of our comfort zone I think we've ever gone on this channel. Yeah, you also rode this briefly already. I have yet to ride this. We're literally watching my first time ever riding a motorcycle with a sidecar, so this is strange. Oh boy, all right. Here we go. The thing that terrifies me the most is this thing tipping, because obviously that is a real possibility with a sidecar. The other strange thing, so the brakes are linked on this and you can adjust the bias from side to side, but I'm so afraid to turn hard. Yeah, it never does anything straight. Like Alex said, you don't brake straight, you don't accelerate straight, and it responds strangely to steering inputs. I'm sure there's people out there that are laughing at me who have spent a lot of time on these bikes, but look, it's an adjustment to get used to riding it. I don't know how people race with sidecars. That's crazy. Oh my god. Ah! It's yeah, it's oh my god. Oh my god. Okay. Oh. So I just let off the throttle and it steered hard left. Oh. I'm so afraid of turning right. I know it's probably not that easy to fly the sidecar, but I don't actually think it's that hard to pick up that sidecar either, so I'm terrified to turn hard right. And so if you give it a strong input on deceleration, I mean, that was all engine braking and it went hard left.
We almost died!
That was fun.
Yeah.
Dude, all I did was let off the throttle and it just started going hard left, and I'm terrified of turning it hard right because I don't want to lift you up in the air.
It's definitely fun, it's exciting. It's terrifying though, I will say. I rode this bike in to the office yesterday with no passenger in here. I was just riding the bike and it was all over the place. I felt like I was barely in control. And so knowing that, I'm now in the passenger seat, totally not in control, knowing that the rider who should be in control is only half in control. So yeah, I think it would feel a little safer in the sidecar if I didn't know how scary it was and how unpredictable it was to ride the bike. But I know all that, so I'm glad he's riding pretty slow right now. And yeah, you gotta have a lot of trust in who's in control of the vehicle.
Okay, we got a couple turns coming up. These are real turns. I'm gonna try and take them at a reasonable clip, but we're starting out with a hard right turn, and our camera car is slowing down quite a bit because they know how I think they can tell how I feel about cornering this bike. Maybe I'm being dramatic. Maybe okay. It will turn to the right. I'm just I'm very carefully, slowly testing the limitations of it. I'm sure it takes a much harder right turn than that to pick up the sidecar. But the thing I don't want to do on this bike that does not belong to me, by the way, and that someone has put a lot of time, money, and effort into, is lift up that sidecar with my buddy Alex in it, slam it back down to the ground, and then go careening off the road. As for other things about this motorcycle, how does it ride? It's not fast. It's got about 40 horsepower. It weighs a better part of 1,000 pounds. I'm not really going to explore how fast it actually is, if I'm perfectly honest. Well, the suspension is pretty comfortable for this being a very old school design. It's a 750cc parallel twin. It does not steer very straight. It doesn't brake straight. It doesn't accelerate straight. And I do not want to find out where the limitations of its handling, cornering capabilities are. I don't want to get anywhere close.
It is funny sitting here because every time Case upshifts or downshifts or rolls off the throttle, the whole machine does something kind of weird. The other thing that I think is pretty cool is you can see all the parts of the bike working, which is something you normally don't get to poke your head down and stare at while you're riding a motorcycle.
Now we're on a little dirt. We are keeping this in just the single wheel powered mode. So this bike does have two-wheel drive, but I'm not going to use it right now because I don't need to. And when you do use it, from everything that I've been told, it makes it a even worse handling bike. And I'm not sure I necessarily want to know what that's like. See, look at that. I'm getting used to it. Yeah. See, I'm already starting to counter steer when I know what direction it's gonna go. I'm a little proud of that. So, I've said a lot of negative things about the experience of riding this bike so far. What I will say on the positive end of things about it is that when you start to get a little bit of a feel for it, and by a little bit I mean the tiniest amount, because again, I have been riding this bike for a total of about 15 minutes, it is rewarding because it feels like you're learning something that's a little more challenging than average. Now, aside from this motorcycle almost killing us, or me almost killing us, I guess, if I knew how to ride these, it wouldn't be an issue.
We can blame it on the motorcycle.
Yeah, I think for today we're going to blame it on the motorcycle. But anyway, there's some cool things going on with these bikes. For one, their heritage. These came from, what, I guess Soviet era. Long time ago. They were based off of BMW Airhead design, so that's why we've got this air-cooled 750cc horizontally opposed twin. It's pretty cool. And these bikes, Ural, it's named after a mountain range, as best as I understand. A couple funky things with it too. Because this motor is basically mounted, in automotive terms, longitudinally instead of transversely, this is your Kickstarter. It does still have a Kickstarter. Of course, it's got electric start too, but unlike the typical motorcycle that you face forward and kick down, this one you face toward the bike and kick it down. That's kind of funky.
Yeah, that's definitely a little bit of an interesting design there. We also have some funkiness with the shifter too. So if you look up here, we have a heel toe shifter, so you can use either your heel or your toe to shift. There's also a passenger foot peg for presumably if this didn't have a sidecar on it, but there isn't the same peg over on the other side.
Also, I'm just now noticing we've got a center stand. Not strictly useful, I guess, with the
you don't really need a stand.
It kind of stands up straight regardless.
Yeah.
But you've also, over here on this side, got even more weirdness. So right down by these cup holders that were added to this one, this is the shifter I can use to get into reverse. So if I push down on that while I'm in neutral, then I can clutch out and that will give me a reverse. Pushing it back forward will put me back into my forward gears. And then here I can engage the rear wheel on the sidecar, because this is a two-wheel drive motorcycle, so that does make it pretty rugged. And the other thing that makes it rugged is all the rest of this stuff.
Yeah, there's a ton of stuff on here. One of the coolest things that isn't so functional, but I think is just sweet, is the little shroud around the headlight actually looks like a compass, so that's a nice little touch there. Tons of off-road lights though, so we have this set of Denalis up here that are controlled with this little knob on the handlebar. We have more lights on the sidecar, also Denali lights, a little smaller there to light up the road. And then we have a winch, which, what motorcycle has a winch on it? I guess one that's really heavy that you might get stuck off-road.
Yeah, better part of 1,000 pounds on here. We've
cup holders in the center.
Yeah, we've got our cup holders. We've got a bunch of bags for storage. We've got a rack underneath here. You also do have a trunk. And then what is this, Alex?
This is a fridge.
Of course.
Yeah, so we've got this little cargo rack on the back here. I actually really like all the leather touches they put on this bike, holding the spare tire in and everything, but that holds our fridge in place. There's a little battery pack inside the fridge that'll run it for, I think, like 20 to 24 hours, and then you can set up solar panels if you want. So it's not wired into the bike, it's a separate unit, but still sweet.
To this bike's credit, it looks amazing. And the reason that it's all built out and the reason that we're testing it is because this is part of the Overland Expo that is coming up very soon here. So we have a chance to check this out. This was kitted out for the Expo.
Yeah, exactly. And it's actually going to one of you guys eventually, or someone at the Expo. So yeah, if you want to see it, it'll be at the Colorado Overland Expo that's in Loveland, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, this will be on display, and you can even have a chance to win it and take it home with you and almost die on it.
And if you do almost die on it, you've got a first aid kit on the fender.
Smart thinking, exactly. You got a first aid kit right there. We've got a little battery tender in case the battery goes a little dead. It's mounted up there.
Also, while I'm thinking about another kind of cool thing on this bike is that this wheel, this spare, is the exact same wheel that's on all 3 other parts of the bike. So if you get a flat or you bend a wheel or anything, you can use this spare on any part of the motorcycle, which is pretty nice thinking. Yeah, it's a cool bike. It looks rad. It's scary to ride, but I'm sure with a little bit of practice that I haven't had yet, but I'm getting there, it would be a ton of fun.
Yeah, I had a ton of fun.
It's already fun, yeah.
I had a ton of fun in the sidecar. It's so different. You can't not have fun in this. It's so dangerous. You can't not put a smile on your face. Like, part of what makes this fun, I think, is that it's so sketchy, and that when you pull up to the next gear or downshift to the previous gear, you just have no clue what it's going to do. But it's a good thing I trust you, because I put my life in your hands today.
We put that to the test.
Yeah.
I also want to say, especially while we're talking about a bike like this, a quick thanks to our friend Scott over at Rider Justice. They've been supporting our channel basically since day one, and if you ever need legal representation, either on 2 wheels, 3 or 4, be sure to call Scott first, because those guys are awesome to work with. And hey, on a motorcycle like this, you just might need it.
That's true. We might be calling him a little later today. We haven't talked about price yet, Case. How much does this whole unit cost here?
They're not cheap. They go for about $20,000, and that's before you add all of this to it. So these are expensive motorcycles, so if you win one of these, good on you. And yeah, it's an interesting bike to ride. There's a lot of novelty to riding one with a sidecar. These bikes are designed to have the sidecars on them, so it's a cool, cohesive package. But I would say if you're just looking for a vintage kind of motorcycle that you could buy brand new, I would probably spend a lot less money and get a Royal Enfield, because those bikes ride really well.
For 2 of them.
Or 2 or 3. But this is a really cool experience. I don't want to throw a bunch of shade at people who ride with sidecars, because I now more than ever have a boatload of respect for it. And it is a lot of fun. So if you're one of those guys out there riding one of these consistently, hats off to you.
We did a video a while ago where this guy who was really comfortable with a sidecar flew Case around in a sidecar.
Pretty sweet.
It looks cool, but after riding this again, yeah, a lot more respect for
another
someone,
level of respect.
Yeah, that can pull the wheel up off the sidecar.
Anyways, that's all for this video. Be sure to let us know what you think. Just drop us a comment below. We're going to try and get out of this rain before we also get struck by lightning, as if this wasn't a scary enough day as it is.
Yeah, why not just make it as dangerous as we can?
And yeah, we'll see you guys in the next video.